Welcome to Scratch Coding. With Scratch, you can create your own stories, puzzles, games, and whatever else you want to create. You're in control of everything in the programs that you write. Today, we're going to make a pizza clicker game. Every time you click, it makes a new pizza. When you have at least 50 pizzas, you'll be able to buy some sauce. And when you buy the sauce, then every time you click, you'll get 2 pizzas for every click. So it'll be even faster before you'll be able to buy some more sauce. And you just keep clicking. This is why it's called a clicker game, because you just click and just keep buying enough sauce so that every time you click, you're getting 5. Now I'm getting 8 every time I click. And when you can afford it, you can buy some cheese. Once you buy the cheese, you'll be getting 1 pizza every second. PPS is pizzas per second. Even without clicking, you get a pizza every second. Then when you can afford it, you can add some peppers to your pizza. And that's going to give me 10 more pizzas for every click. It cost me 500 pizzas though. I'll get some more peppers. So now every time I click, I'm getting 54 pizzas. When you're ready and you can afford it, you can put some olives on the pizza. It'll cost you 2,000 pizzas, but then you're getting 1,000 more pizzas per second. Definitely a good investment. It's surprising how fun a clicker game is. Load it up with some olives so that you'll be getting 30,000 pizzas per second. Then you can afford some tomatoes, which will end up getting you 1,000 more pizzas per click. And when you have at least a million pizzas saved up, then you could buy some pepperoni. I want some more peppers just for decoration. I need to be able to afford some more pepperoni. And that's how we play our pizza clicker game. Let's see how to write the code. I hope you learned something helpful and enjoy watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe below. We're going to start off today with the pizza clicker resources. This is just the sprites. There's a link to this below in the video description. The resources includes all the drawings that we need, all the sprites that we need to create this game. Of course, if you want to draw your own olives or if you want to draw sausage or anything else, you can do that. But this will just save us some time. The first thing I want to do is get a background. I'll select Upload Backdrop and pick this tablecloth. And earlier, I found this tablecloth picture on the internet. I'll convert it to vector and resize it, and that'll be my background. I don't need this one anymore. I'm going to put a lot of the code that we need in the code for the dough. You'll see I've provided a picture of the dough, but there's no code yet. First, let's make it show on the screen. That's probably a pretty good size. When the green flag is clicked, let's make sure that it shows. That's probably a good spot for it too. In case we accidentally drag it around somewhere, let's make it go back to that same spot when we start the game. In my original game, whenever we clicked, it made the dough grow and shrink. So let's put that effect on it. Forever, it's going to check. And if the mouse is down, it's going to change the dough size. So mouse down is sensing. If it senses that the mouse is down, it's going to change the size by 5, and then it'll change the size back down to the same as it was before. But that will happen too fast, so we need a little bit of time in between there. Not a whole second. Let's wait 0.1 of a second. That works. Now we want to be able to get some points, some money, some pizzas. I like to call it pizzas. We want to get pizzas every time we click. So we're going to need a variable. Make a variable and call it pizzas. And if the mouse is down, we're going to change pizzas by 1. But if they hold the mouse down, they keep getting points. So we can't let them cheat like that. After the mouse is down, then this loop needs to wait until the mouse is not down. So now if I hold the mouse down, it doesn't give them extra points. They have to actually click every time they want a point. I have another sprite down here called Tiny Pizza. I used this picture of a pizza to make a pizza fly out. Every time you click, a pizza flies out. So that's what we use Tiny Pizza for. So we're not going to actually show Tiny Pizza. We're going to show a clone of Tiny Pizza. We go back to the code for the dough. Every time they click the mouse, we're going to create a clone of Tiny Pizza. Let's go to the code for Tiny Pizza. Let's see what it looks like. There he is. So what's a good size for him? Was 15 good? That's a good size for a Tiny Pizza. So when the green flag is clicked, we're going to set his size to 15%, and we're going to make sure that he's hidden. But if he's a clone, if he starts as a clone, then we want him to show. But we don't want him to be really bright like this. And to make him kind of faded out, we're going to use the ghost effect. So he's just going to be faded out about 40%. We want him to start off in the middle of the screen. That'll be 0, 0 for our X and Y. And we want him to just fly out across the screen. So to do that, we're going to make him move. So just move 10 steps at a time. We got to get that to repeat a bunch of times. So more than 10, let's make that 30. And he'll just fly across the screen. We don't want him to go in the same direction every time. Let's make him point in a random direction when he first starts off. And if it's any direction all the way around, just a random number, that's going to be between 1 and 360. So that time he went up, that time he's going every different direction, starting from the middle. That's working pretty good. We'll have some pizzas accumulating on the side though, so we need to get rid of those. So as he's moving across the screen, moving 10 steps at a time, when he gets to the edge, I want him to get deleted. So we have to get him to if touching the edge. Touching is going to be sensing because he'll sense that he's touching the edge. He's just going to delete himself. So we have to pick delete this clone. Now they disappear when they get to the edge. And our pizzas are accumulating up there. It's all working good so far. Let's go back to the code for our dough. Even when we hit the green flag, it doesn't reset our pizzas. We want our pizza variable to start off at 0 when we start the game. So go to our variables. When the green flag is clicked, we want to set pizzas to 0. We need a couple more variables. I want to have PPC, which stands for pizzas per click, and PPS, which stands for pizzas per second. Pizzas per second is going to be 0 when it starts. and pizzas per click will be 1 when it starts. So they're not getting any pizzas every second when they start, but they do get a pizza every click. And every time we click, right now pizzas per click is 1, and this is 1, so it doesn't matter. But when pizzas per click is more than 1, we're going to want to get that many every time we click. Okay, so it still works. If we change pizzas per click to 10, then we would get 10 pizzas every click. If we change pizzas per second to 1,000, nothing happens because we didn't write the code for that yet. We need every second to increase the pizzas by pizzas per second. That whole process is going to start when the green flag clicks. We need it in a forever loop. And what we want to do is change our number of pizzas by however many pizzas per second we're supposed to be earning. But we can't just run that. It's way too fast. We've got to make it wait for a second in between there. So now we're getting 1,000 pizzas every second. All right, that looks good. Let's change pizzas per click back to 1 and pizzas per second back to 0. That's the way the game's going to start. And let's give our players some stuff to buy. The first thing we're going to want them to be able to put on the pizza is the sauce. This isn't actually the sauce. This is just the little picture that goes up here that lets them buy some sauce. And the way I created this was the little graphic image here with an outline and then just 3 different lines of text. You can do text just by clicking on the text and typing. You can change the size of it just by dragging it bigger or smaller. You could change these prices if you want. So the code for the sauce, first off, I need to make it show up. And that actually might be a good place for it. When the green flag is clicked, I'll tell it to go right there. And if somebody clicks that sprite, they're going to want to buy some sauce to put on the pizza. But if they don't have at least 50 to spend, then they can't buy it. So we need to check. We need an if then, get an operator, and look at our variable pizzas. If pizzas is greater than 50, then they can afford it. And we're going to let the other sauce know that it needs to show up. We're going to do that by broadcasting the message, show sauce. And so when they show the sauce, then it cost them 50 pizzas. So we have to change that variable. Change it by minus 50, which means we're just subtracting 50. And what booster did they buy? When they bought the sauce, then they get an extra point per click. So we need to change that. We need to change points per click by 1. It's just going to increase it by 1. So when the green flag is clicked, you get credit for the clicks, but you don't actually get to buy any sauce until we have 50. Once we were able to buy the sauce, then we're getting 2 points per click. It's working perfect. Now we got to make the sauce show up. I have another picture down here for you. If you get this out of the resources, that's the pizza sauce. And remember, in here we broadcasted show sauce. So when this pizza sauce receives the message show sauce, then it's going to show. How easy is that? We need to make sure it shows up in the right place though. It's back behind there. So not only in the right place, but also on top. Let's go back to the code for the pizza sauce. When the green flag is clicked, he's going to hide, but he's also going to go to the front. So when you show him, you'll be able to see him. He'll be in front of the dough. I'm going to hit the green flag so my dough will go back to where it's supposed to be. I'm going to show my sauce, and that's in a good spot. So in my motion, I'll make him go to that XY position when the game starts. So he'll be hidden, but he'll be in the right place. And that's all the code I need for my sauce. If they end up buying more sauce, it's just going to show another one right on top. We're going to do the exact same thing for the cheese. We have a picture of the cheese right here in the costumes that has the words next to it that says how much it costs, and that's going to increase your pizzas per second by 1. That code is going to be a lot like the sauce code. So we'll just copy it. I'm going to drag this to my cheese sprite and drag this one. Now I'll go to my cheese and let me make him show. So instead of going to minus 207 100, let's make him go to minus 209 44. And he costs 100. So if somebody wants to buy this, we got to make sure they have at least 100 already. And we're going to broadcast show cheese. We're going to take away 100 from them. And we'll change pizzas per second by 1. That's it for the cheese. Let's go to the actual cheese that goes on the pizza. We have no code, but it's going to be really similar to the pizza sauce. So let's copy that. When he receives the message, show cheese, he's going to show. And when the green flag is clicked, he's going to hide. He's going to go to the front layer, and he's going to go to the right spot. So for the sauce and the cheese, it doesn't matter how many you have on there, it's still going to look exactly the same. But when you start buying tomatoes and olives and peppers, that is a clone. Because you don't know how many peppers you're going to need or how many pepperonis you're going to need. And so I made all of those clones. Let's look at peppers next. Let's make that show. And let's also look at the costumes. This first costume, this is the one that shows up here. And Peppers 2, the second costume, is the one that shows up on the pizza. There's not 2 different sprites for it. There's just 2 different costumes. So the code for it, when the game first starts, let's make sure the size is right. We'll change it to 35. And go to where he is right now. And set his costume to the first costume. Now this next part is similar to what we did for the sauce and the cheese. We need to find out if they have enough money to buy it. So if they try to buy it, and they click on it, when this sprite is clicked, we need to see if they have enough money. It's going to be pizzas. We need an operator. If pizzas is greater than, and the peppers are costing them 500. So we got to make sure they have at least 500. And if they do, it's going to go in here and run this code. So if they do have enough money, we're going to take away 500, change pizzas by negative 500. We're going to give them 10 more pizzas per click. So we'll change pizzas per click by 10. And we need to create a clone of the peppers with that second costume. For this, we're just going to create a clone of myself. And then the code that's going to run for that clone is when I start as a clone, I need to be Peppers 2. This costume. We don't want it to show up behind the cheese, so we'll tell it to go to the front layer. I don't have enough money. I'm going to set, just for testing here, I'm going to set pizzas higher so I can buy some peppers. Okay, so I bought some peppers, but it looks like it's showing my peppers right here, so that's not good. So when he starts as a clone, he needs to show up over here. somewhere on the pizza. Let's have it from about 0 to 180 for the X, and minus 100 to 100 for the Y. So we got to tell it to go to a random position somewhere on this dough. Or it's going to be on the cheese, really. When he starts it as a clone, he's going to go to a random XY position. We'll start with the X between 0 and 180, and the Y between negative 100 and positive 100. So if we put on some sauce, and then we put on some cheese, and we put some peppers. Ooh, that one's way off. We can make Y smaller. Let's change it to 80. That's a lot better. They're still a little messy, but that's close enough. Are we getting 10 more pizzas per click every time? We got 482, 492. Everything's working perfect. Now the next thing we have is the olives. Are we done with this code? We want to make sure we have it right before we start copying it somewhere else, or we'll have to change things in multiple places. I think it looks good. So we've got to copy all 3 of these to our olives. Go to the code for the olives. When he starts as a clone, he's going to change his costume to olives 2. Go to the front layer. That random position should be pretty close. We need to show him as olives. I think maybe 30% would be better. Make sure he starts off in the right place. And then whenever somebody tries to buy him, they have to have at least 2,000. And it's going to cost them 2,000. But then their pizzas per second goes up by 1,000. And they create a clone of themselves, and the clone is going to show up over there. So we got to go back to the peppers and get us some money. That's too big. We'll make them a lot smaller. That's a lot smaller. Let's get some money, some sauce and some cheese, and that looks good. Yeah, we just need to add a couple more things. Do the same thing for the tomatoes and the pepperoni. You can create as many ingredients as you want and just copy that same code to all the ingredients. In each ingredient, you just have to put it in the right place, charge the right amount of pizzas, and then increase the pizzas per click or the pizzas per second. You can change the sprites to be anything that you want. You could change the picture to be sausage instead of tomato. You can change the words and the cost or anything you want. Just change the code to match whatever you say you're charging. And that's how you create a pizza clicker game. Now we have sausage and pepperoni, we can make a meat lover's pizza. Share the clicker game that you create in my studio. The link is below. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It'll really help me out. This free coding lesson was provided by STEMinGames. Watch more lessons and keep practicing so you can create new worlds and games and make your ideas come to life. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.